Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 27th of February. So as another month slips its way past, let's have a look at this week and what we got. Well, so this week, certainly look at today. In fact, let's have a quick look at this week. Overview gives an idea of anything's going to be stalling and waiting for action that we seem to see so frequently these days. So today then we've got a couple of members of the Bank of England team. I say a couple, at least one speaking now. I'll have a look at see if there's any other speakers there. US core durable goods, that can create a bit of volatility. It's not the biggest mover at the moment. It's not really an inflation driver, although it is a growth, a sign of growth. So I would watch that a little bit more carefully. Tomorrow we've got Canadian GDP. Doesn't really ever move the markets too much. It's not a big week by the looks of things. We've got some speakers, but that's about it this week. Nothing great. It's just so nothing there to be sitting there waiting for. This afternoon we've got Fed speaker Jefferson, ECB, a couple of ECB speakers there towards the 3:30 onwards. So here we go, relatively quiet down the eastern front. So looking at the currency pairs then, euro dollar, I'm waiting for this, maybe patiently I'll be waiting for this to see its reaction into its daily pivot if it gets there. So this is what I'm looking for at the moment. Now the weekly pivot, actually I'm looking at the weekly pivot here. This is the weekly pivot on a 4-hour chart. So there's the second option. The first option is off the hourlies here. We'll see how it reacts into its daily pivot. But the weekly pivot is bang where the daily R1 is, so we'll see what happens, get a reaction from that or not. But the lower highs, lower lows going through here is quite standard in terms of what we're seeing, standard setup. So I really want to be selling into pivotal areas. See, I've got that in there. The pound, morning in. The pound then, the pound's a bit of a mess here. It's put trying to put a lower high in as well, near term lower high on the dailies as well, but it's certainly putting the lower highs in there. Friday, what a horrible bar that 8 o'clock bar was, but the price action did what I thought it would do, but the 8 o'clock bar didn't. Anyway, that was the story of Friday, and it ran all the way beyond the S1 down to the S2 there. Again here, just really with this price action going on, just looking to see if we get a retracement back to the pivot. US dollar yen, yen's the dollar's strengthening against the yen. Again, we could see an inverted version of what I'm looking for in the pound, the euro there, retracement. So that's basically what I'm looking for this morning in summary. If we get back into these pivots to see the reaction, if they catch a bounce, that's great. I'm looking at this dollar yen though, and it is a lot uglier than the other markets, so I'll probably steer clear of it. The pound, euro and the pound look so much better. Unfortunately, the Aussie dollar's already pushed off this morning. It's already sold off a little bit there, so it discounts that, and its pairs. The pairs are pretty much the same across. US dollar CAD. CAD's floating around its pivot this morning. It's just sort of show you what's happening bigger picture. It's really been losing some ground against the dollar here. The US dollar pushing up, CAD just softening. If it comes back to hit the this is the weekly pivot, it'll have put a lower high in just about there, so you'll see it clearer here. So it'll be putting a lower high in, so I would be wary of that one. If it comes back into the pivot, we'll see how it develops. There are prior highs around that area which might give it some support, but I'd watch it carefully. Now I've discounted any of the effectively Aussie pairs. Euro yen, let's just have a quick look at euro yen. Again, it's been pushing up the yen, say softening. Again, weekly pivot here, S1 below, weekly pivot back up to its R1 would be a possibility. We got the daily pivot a little bit lower. Let me just pop the weekly on here as well, so you can see the weekly and daily pivots are down here nicely. That might give an opportunity of some buying. We'll see what it'll probably give us a flag if it does it. So I'll be sitting waiting to see if that comes to being. Right, you say Euro Aussie, no point looking at Euro CAD. Got a question on this in a sense. Is it going to start rolling over more? It certainly looks like it could be pushing on further down. It's quite the same now. I'm looking at it now on the hourlies here, and it looks quite ugly. It's air kissed the pivot there. We'll see what happens as it runs through. It has got that sort of wave formation sort of occurring here, sort of head and shouldery pattern for those that like the old traditional patterns, but a break below the lows here could be a bit more key. We could see more of a reaction to that. So a few to watch for this morning. Let's look across the other markets briefly. Let's go and have a look at gold. So let's just look at gold on the higher time frames here. So really on Friday continued selling on Friday, not particularly looking great at all. Lower highs coming through. Really is quite soft there. Again, similar-ish to what I'm looking at the euro, I suppose, etc. Although this is a bit more like the Aussie dollar and commodity currencies. No surprise there, it's just broken down that bit earlier, given a lower high, but it gets a bit more messy if it runs back up to the pivot there. So not my favourite there for sure. Talking of favourites, looking at this lower time frame of oil, it looks like it could be catching a bounce, but it's a bit early in the day for my liking. But you can see it's already put a higher low in. In fact, it's just come to the hourly here, and you see it already put a higher low in. That's popped in. Yeah, but it could be in for its R1 at this rate. Looks pretty reasonable. We'll see what happens. But again, post 8 o'clock, lots of things change. It does tend to follow the Brent crude, so we'll see what happens there. Right, equity markets. Let's just go on to dailies for these. Just flick through these very quickly. Equity markets across the CSI 300 still coming off a little bit here, and looking to me, if it breaks it tomorrow, that prior low there, well, we could see more of a correction. It is just short of its 50, which might give it a bit of support, but really I'm not impressed with that. The Nikkei, that's been rolling, but managed a couple of well, actually it's just the inside bar that we've got kicking in there at the moment. It's hardly really gone too much. It gapped down, and it's just managed to close positively, but down on the day overall. Nifty 50 really showing its well, it's just looking really soft. It's an unusual one here. It's hit the monthly R1 and S1. Very soft range there. Where it's moving at the moment could just follow through. US indices here then. S&P's just continuing to roll at the moment. This uncertainty, the good figures we've seen in terms of strength and in particularly inflation in the US there, and the hawkish tones has not been good for the market at the moment. Now this may all change, but for now it's looking on the soft side of things. The Dow, I mean, it's looking okay this morning, but overall all of these are pretty much down and intermediate at the moment in intermediate downward trend. Then Nasdaq here, similar case, lower highs in on the dailies here, of course, already, and well, catching an intraday bounce for now. Coming close to home then, the DAX. DAX really, I mean, it's been holding up really well up here, and well, arguably it might still hold up around here, but certainly sold off there on Friday. The FTSE, it's looking a little bit on the better side, but we'll see what develops of that. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let's just see what happened to the crazy market over the weekend there. So Bitcoin, what did it do? Not a lot really. There you go. Still looking a bit more iffy. In fact, now if it in a few days, if it breaks down that near-term low, that'll give us another lower high, and well, we could see even more of a correction in terms of what's happening here. Just a quick look at Ethereum as we're on the same case. That's looking a little bit more bullish for this pivot swinging on the dailies down yesterday over the weekend, looking a little bit more positive, but overall they're looking quite soft. On that note, I wish you a great day's trading. I'll catch you in the morning. Bye for now. Hi Paul, sorry. Catch you at the end there. Take care.